Hey guys, I have a very special guest. The Mountain RN has decided to come back to the States. He's attending a ham radio class over in Seattle for the weekend, and he came over for dinner. We've been watching some movies, we've been talking, eating some food, having some drinks, and we thought we'd do a couple videos for you. So we're going to do a special medical talk video with the Mountain RN, and we have a few different items here on the table that we're going to cover for this video. So what do you want to go over first? You want to go over your love of medical shears? We'll go left to right for us. So.
So I was mentioning that I liked those scissors versus those ones, and so in the nursing field we call those bandage dressing. They're usually more in metal and things, and one of the reasons I said to him that I don't like those ones is, as you can see, they have a tendency to do this kind of shit and kind of shape to it when you either try to cut something and you get into a resistance and stuff, and they'll after a while they'll do, and this is like those are brand new, I just bought them.
Yeah, I'll do some close-ups of all of them. So.
And those ones I found they don't do as much that strength, and they're about the same price. And
so when you're putting a lot of pressure on it, it's twisted. It's the handle
twisted. Yeah, it's kind of like at this point there. Yeah, there's a point of failure, and those are brand new. Like I literally just bought them for the demonstration.
And are these ones super cheap, or are they just standard medical shears?
So, yeah, like obviously the Raptor doesn't do that, but like that's $90 versus like about $6 or $7, and those ones were also about $6 or $7.
And then what is this one called specifically, so people know what?
So usually they're bandage dressing by bandage scissors.
This one says EMT utility shears.
By EMT, what's their name? Adventure Medical Kit sells those little ones. And
so this one, you really have to work to get it to do that then.
And you really have to do, and they pretty much have like the same cutting power and kind of surface.
Yeah,
and they're smaller too. So
for years now, you've been telling me not to get standard medical shears. You said get something else. And so this is what I should have in the medical kits versus these ones.
Yeah. If you
unless I get the Raptor.
Yeah. If you got a good Raptor, obviously. Yeah. But you were talking $90 versus. So if you would have $90 every kit, it would become pretty expensive. But if I would have to, because for the price, it's about the same price. And the size is smaller.
$5?
Yeah, I think they were both like $5 or $6 each. Okay. But you can feel the difference in cut. So
cool. All right, so the next items that we have on the table here, we have a whole bunch of goodies over here. The Mountain RN volunteered to wash some vehicles as he's in town.
Wash in,
picked up a sponge. But I don't think that's what it's for.
Wax in, wax out.
Yeah, wax on, wax off. Sand the floor.
So one thing that a lot of the time channel don't talk about, a lot of people talk about bleeding and even more bleeding and tourniquet and everything, but what they don't mention is that once you stabilize that bleeding or you took care of somebody, you're starting to get it, especially in people with self-reliance, which is outside the first aid care, is that you would have to take care of someone. So for example, if you have someone that has a broken leg, cannot go up, cannot go to the washroom, so you have to start thinking about things where they can urinate or you can collect urine, and if they have decreased level of consciousness because of fever or something like that, there's things that you need to start thinking. And so this is the first pal right over here, and not a lot of people have this in their kit. And they're not that expensive, and especially the one I'm going to show, obviously for men's, for women this would be a different things, but even that, they have now like those device for people when they go hiking, they can kind of wear it. So it would do almost the same job as this. I didn't try the concept, but if you don't want to go with the other one that we're going to talk about. But what it's called it's a condom. So it's a male external catheter condom. So it looks just like regular condom, but at the end there's a little hole and tube, and basically what you do is you put a bag to it, and basically now when person male urinate, the urine collects and goes straight to the bag, and so basically you don't need to hold the bottle or change a pad and things
And
like
it's
that.
it's not a catheter. So
It's
you don't
not
have
a
to do it-
catheter.
you don't have
Yeah,
to lo-
you don't
do
have
that.
to
It's just
insert and everything. Yeah, it's
It'd be
really
a very
outside.
inefficient condom, but it would be but it's good for,
Yeah,
for this.
and you see, like all those supplies, I bought them at a store like where they sell like.
So this is
Band-Aids
$3 then. Here
Yeah, it was $3, and this thing is about $9. And so, for example, for about 11 hours, and even if you don't really want to do this, like if you would have to improvise, a water bladder could replace this because it's exactly about the same kind of
Yeah.
concept and everything. So, like in my outdoor gear, I got this
Yeah.
alone, and so if I need to replenish a bag, I
So if
just
someone's
use-
injured, they can't get up, they're stuck in bed, instead of messing with the catheter, which you have to be a trained person
Yeah.
to have that done, you could just use this, plug in the tube in this, and then have it drain into the
yeah,
bag.
and so they just let go and
just like a bladder for your
yeah,
backpack.
and so that way you don't need to change the pad, you don't need to rechange their things, and it seems strange, but it holds very well. It sticks.
Yeah.
It's a kind of a glue of some sort on that kind of side there.
Yeah.
It sticks into it.
So this is like $3 here, and then how much would this be for
That was,
the
I
average?
think it was $8.
$8. So
Yeah,
for-
it's like $9.
So for 11, 12 bucks, you could have that kind of setup.
Yeah, and again, very.
So is this
compressible.
something that you would have in a backpack then, or would you have it in like a larger first aid kit then? Like,
Large
you're talking
for,
like a
well,
2-month.
like I was saying, so what I do is I carry those because those are so compressive.
Yeah.
In my outdoor gear, I carry this, but I don't carry the bag. But if I would have to do that, a lot of people now carry water bladder.
Yeah.
I would use a water bladder and
So
change
you
them.
could just
to
have that and maybe some tubing.
Water,
and the water bladder.
water bladder, yeah,
Yeah, an
because
emergency.
if you look at the tubing, it's about the same thing as a water bladder. So if they have their own water bladder, because they won't be drinking anyway, I would be able to improvise. And this takes no space. But in my long-term,
Yeah, so
Of
your
course,
kits, you
yes.
have, it's based off of time, so.
Yeah.
Like I have different tiers of, and you have it more like a 24-hour, 72
yeah,
hour,
it's
7
72
day,
1 week and
2 months. And so would this be a 2 month?
2 months.
2 month item.
And 1 week would be
Just that, and
just
then
this.
improvising with the water bladder.
Improvise with some sort of.
All right, so I'll put links in the description box, and then we'll do some close-ups so you can see everything that we're looking at here.
And
So-
then to if you want to go more like female or anything but multi-purpose, I mentioned that on my channel, but this is called a Foley catheter, and so when people need to have inserted, so this would go straight to the bladder, and at the end over here there's a little balloon, and this one has a 30 cc's, and 30 cc's are so that's about 30 cc's, and that's what 1.5 ounces. So that's about in ounce. That would be about that size of the balloon. So there's about that
Yeah,
much
remember
air
we
that
talked
goes
about this
into it.
previously in a couple, was that a year ago then?
Yeah, and
about
so basically with this, you can do a lot of improvisation. So for example, if I would know a nasal NPA, I could do this. Wound care, if I put a condom, and I could even use that condom if I would stick around here and fill that with water, it would create the pressure. So if you have a wound that is very deep inside your stomach, you could use that for that.
So if you had like a hole,
yeah, let's say I
instead
got
of
shot or something.
trying to fill it from the outside where you're not getting into the cavity, then
Yeah.
you're filling the cavity and expanding.
Yeah, so basically you put that in, and then here, instead of, because usually urine, because there's a little hole at the end
Yeah,
of this, so instead of urine going this way, now we're filling out with water. And then again, this bag now can use both sides. Not only I can empty it, but now I can fill this with water, and then hook that up, and then refill this. And in this package is sterile, so then that means I can use it for different things.
You said it's double bagged as well.
It's double bag, yeah. And one other last use of it, because, and this is why the 30 cc's balloon is that nasal. So if you have a big bleed anterior, you could put that in and pull that out on your nose, and it would create again that pressure, and it would stop the bleed, but you would still be able to breathe.
Is this another one that you would have in your 2 month kit then?
No, actually, I
This
even
is-
have
this
one
is
in
your
my
1
week.
week?
Yeah,
Your 1
because if you fold and you suck in all the air, it's
Yeah, because you gave me one of these maybe a year ago, but it was a shorter version, I think. Right? I believe
could
so.
be, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Every time the mountain lion comes into town, he always bears gifts.
they're gifts of.
He came like Santa Claus. And he had a couple bags full of medical gear and other stuff that we're going to talk about.
But yeah, this one, because it has so multiple function, I carry one of those in my kit because it has multifunction and it takes
so this
no
is
space.
1 week, 2 months.
months, yeah.
Okay. All right, let's move on to the.
And this
the car
one
wash
is, yeah, this
supplies.
car wash one. And so this one is kind of a concept. And so in my 2 months week, so from 1 week to about a month and a half, you have enough supplies. Like we were talking about the 21st century dressing. They last for like 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks sometime, depending of the dressing you have. But let's say whatever you would have to would last 2 months or 3 months. Well, now you don't have enough supplies, and so you have to be able to improvise. And so this is where things like that could become. And so that's at the dollar store. It's a dressing. It's
And that's just like a microfiber
and everything. And this is like a sponge. And with this, what I could do is clean them with like bleach and clean them and reuse them. So if you have 3 of them, basically now every day you usually change your dressing twice a day. So if you have 3, I have one that is getting clean and dry, the other one's been used in one dressing, and I have the other one for the night. And so as this one gets clean, I can use it. So with 3 I can rotate. And again, at the dollar store, what I found was a baster syringe, I think, in that package.
Just $1, like a turkey baster.
Yeah, a turkey baster, so you don't need to buy like all the medical gear and stuff. So what it did, it came with a syringe, and this is a catheter, so you can use it again, multi-purpose. This one, a lot of time, we do what we call it in and out. So basically, this is to stay in. So it's a Foley that goes into your bladder. This is an in and out, meaning that it's a little bit more rigid, and you push that in, and then basically we empty the bladder, and then we pull the catheter because there's no balloon at the end. But that means we can use this also for a different purpose. And one of them could be to bring a tube down here, and basically it would be in your stomach. And so if you have a person that is unconscious, now I can feed them with this. The other option that you can use that too, and again, that too was like $2 or something like this.
So at the dollar store, you could get 10 of these for $10 then.
Yeah, pretty much. And you could probably find something that's similar to this. But
so you're not saying for someone like me that, I mean, to use a catheter, you have to have training for that.
Yeah.
Someone like me can't just wing it. But this is specific for someone that's unconscious. For food.
Yeah, unconscious, to feed them. And then the other purpose that you can have, and it's a concept, I didn't try them yet, but a lot of literature on it. If you have a sponge like this, it's called a vac, which is it's a vacuum dressing. So what it does is that, as you can see, this kind of takes the air out. And so what I do is that you put this tube, which has a hole inside, and you create a seal. So either with like saran wrap or upside or something like this.
So like the Tegaderm and
the Tegaderm, and depending of like the size of the wound and where it is, and because like for example, if it would be in here and I put just a Tegaderm, it could create like holes. So you really have to have this airtight system. And then when you put this in, and then you suck air out, you can create this vacuum inside, and then it will suck out. And so what happens is that fills the gap of your wound. So we're talking like not like a teeny wound, we're talking about a wound like inside my hand. And so basically you have this like this, and then you have this on the top plus the dressing, and then it sucked the wound. And as the wounds slowly decrease in size, then you can switch to other dressings and things like that.
So how would you attach this? Would you use like duct tape then, or?
Yeah, you would put some tape, or like even just to put that upside on the top, it would hold it this way. And then this stays on the person.
Yeah.
And because usually the machine we use in the hospital, the expensive thing is like just a pump that you have like for your aquarium.
Yeah, aquarium pump.
But instead of pushing air, it's suck air. And so basically you create a negative pressure. And actually one thing I've discovered by buying those, because that was for the purpose of this, it comes with a needles like this, which is pretty serious needles. But
that would hurt.
in case in the old days, that's what they kind of use for when they started IVs. So like you could start an IV if you had to, like, you know, not, well, we already talked about that before, IVs and that, but for $1 I have now a syringe and a possible IV system. So.
You'd have to sterilize that with.
Yes, yeah. You would have to sterilize with alcohol, start a flame and everything and stuff. But this is what they were using in like the 50s and stuff.
Yeah. So $1 for the syringe, the tubing. You said it was a couple dollars. The sponge was $1. I
Yeah.
think, and this is something that you were saying you could cut it into pieces.
Yeah, and this is the beauty of buying those ones versus other ones, is that you can literally cut this and it doesn't leave too much marks and stuff. Yeah. And again, this too, obviously we need, because it's in the wound, so we need to be sterilized. Yeah. And this is the beauty with those product versus like gauze or things like that, because gauze are nothing else than cotton. And so if I have something that is made of cotton, which I think this is probably what it is, or a sponge like this I can clean. So I can sterilize with things like bleach or the sun. Yeah. So if I have a sunny day and I leave it outside for I think 8 hours or something like that, you can.
So all of this is for emergency purposes, where survival situation where you don't have a fancy long term, where you ran out of your main supplies,
yeah.
You don't have as good sterile environment.
It makes a good, you see, like for example, you can compress pretty good, leave that in a 2 months kit, and then because it's really in case of, now for less than $10, I have pretty much like 1 month of reusable dressing. Actually, not just 1 month. I have indefinite dressing.
So just so I understand again, so say you had a wound, and you cut the piece off of that, it was sterile, you would put that on there, you would use the holes here, tape it to that, and then you would put the transparent dressing.
And then you suck
like
the air out.
or the Cavalon.
Yeah, and then you suck the air out until you feel like this pressure like this.
And then you'll start seeing it go like that.
Yeah, it'll suck it
And then
down.
how long should it stay like that for?
It stays until the wound heals and stuff, and so probably every 2 or 3 days again you would see transparent. That's the other advantage of having like upside, and so you're monitoring. And because there's a little bit, because also this, if there's a big wound like this, it should have a lot of exudate, and so the syringe would get filled, and so then you empty the syringe, and then you restart the process.
So it would expand and then just go back in it.
And then you can reassess your wound or your dressing.
Yeah, what was the dressing that earlier before we had dinner? You were showing some of he always comes with battle wounds whenever you come here. I think just for my purposes, and he was showing some transparent dressing that he has here. And and I think you were here. I don't know if you want to striptease here, but.
So I always talk about how those dressings. So I got a little bit of reaction to something in the house I'm moving. So I always talk about how those dressings. So I got a little bit of reaction to something in the house I'm moving right now, and so those are the upside with Cavalon. Yeah. And this is after 4 days with showers and everything. It's, as you can see, it barely show any mark or anything like that. So that's why we put the Cavalon around, so it stays in. And this is what, 70 cents, I think we said about it.
Yeah, and I've been buying, ever since you told me about it, I've been buying it in bulk, and now I put it in all my kits. So so the vehicle kit and a bug out bag kit, EDC bag kit, whatever.
And you see, like, it's protecting the wounds that I have. And if I had, let's say, and so if I had, like, say, Aquacel, I could leave the Aquacel for 7 days. Yeah. this would be, I can shower on it, I can sweat in it. I've been wearing clothes. I have another one in my back here, and it's the same thing. It's like it has been having friction and everything. And
I think every time that you've come into town, you've had your toe injured. I see cuts and
yeah, I did this
you're
today,
bandaged up,
yeah.
and I feel like you're testing out some of the gear.
I'm almost wondering,
the videos,
I wonder if there's like a psychological thing. I need to hurt myself. I'm seeing
well, when he showed me the transparent dressing earlier, and and my wife was in the other room. She came in the room, and the Mountain RN's doing almost a striptease. Medical striptease. I wish we had that on camera.
No sponge bath.
No, there was no sponges for it. But my wife just gave it like, okay. But yeah.
It's a great dressing, and this is why when I recommend something, it's something that I tried. It's not I read like this one is a concept, but again, I'm gonna be trying this like by buying stuff and trying it and everything.
So in a pinch, you could use Saran wrap and tape or something.
Yeah.
But the Tegaderm and the Kevlar and all that stuff is better.
But again, the purpose of this is to have a backup that I can reuse. Like for example, it's not my first to go to, but again, you're able to get your hand on like this. Probably every houses would have this, versus Tegaderm probably not. So, but this I can reuse. So that's the purpose. It's my third layer. So now it's a little bit my system is. Like 1 is none, 2 is. So usually I go with the principles. So the first one is the second one is to a backup of the second, but the third one is improvisation. Because if I can improvise, that means no matter where I am, I can.
Well, they always talk about how having the right supplies and tools is one thing, but having the knowledge to do these kind of things, that's what's more important.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Like let's say we're stuck in a hotel because whatever, and you got a big wound, and like okay, so now I go around in the room and on the housekeeping cart I find something like this. Like okay, I found some Javex because they're cleaning the house. Well, suddenly now I can create something.
Like medical MacGyver.
Yeah. And this is why. So by doing this, I find it's a good backup because a lot of people is like a backup of a backup, and then you have like 6 flashlights. But then when you lose your 6 flashlights, it's like you still don't know what to do after that. So that's why for me it's up at 2. Yeah. And the third one is how can I improvise what I'm about to learn. Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, those are medical tips with the Mountain RN visiting into town. So we've been hanging out. We're gonna do a couple more videos, but this was all the medical ones. I'll provide links in the description box below, including a link to his channel and some of the information that we've talked about. Where you always like having data to back up what you don't just say stuff and then just throw Hail Marys. It always is backed up with some kind of PDF. So we'll put all those links in the description box. So make sure you check out the Mountain RN's channel and stay tuned for more videos. So thanks for watching and leave your comments below in the comment section. See you guys next time.